Hey everybody, this is Josh Valencia, and this is a mix called I'm Alright, and I'm just going to make a series of videos going through how I mixed it. I think it sounds pretty good. Let me know what you think, and I'm just going to, like I said before, just go through every part and just kind of show you how I got to where I got. This first video is going to be on drums. If you want to hear the whole track actually mixed, there's going to be a link in the description for the entire track out on SoundCloud. And I also put a link out there. This is one of those free mixing, I guess you would call them, just like a bunch of stems out there on a website. I don't remember exactly where, but I'll put the link in the description. And so let's just get started. If we're going to listen to the track back, I'm assuming you've heard it. I've gone through and labeled the song out here with markers. I've also gone through and grouped certain instruments together, like drums and vocals. Everything else is pretty much already split out. So let's just make it through the drums first. I'm gonna solo, and we're gonna hear what we got coming from the top. So basically what we've got is, a standard drum set: kick, snare, overheads, toms, and percussion. I'm gonna get my mix window, just put it over here. So what you can see we have here is, I have them all soloed, so I'll just go disable this group so we could start one by one. If we look at the kick, what I've done is that, let's listen to the kick before. Not much girth. It's barely there. So what I did first is that I added R-Bass, a Waves plugin. At about 32, I increased the intensity of that frequency, and if we could give that a listen. So that just adds a little more sub, really boosts that 32 and gives it a nice full, actually gives it a body. So if I were to disable this plugin, I could listen to Boom. This is one by Brainworks that I absolutely love. You can use it on bass, kick, or even on your master bus, so you can kind of just give the whole mix a little more. So if I were to, that gives it something. I have it set on high. Then if I were to engage our bass, and you can really see that went from nothing to something awesome. It really made it nice and fat. It's gonna cut through nicely. You can see something here, which is kind of rare. We're gonna move on the snare now, and this is the snare from the track. To be honest, I'm actually pretty satisfied with the way that this sounded. There are no plugins on it whatsoever. I like that ringy tone. It's obviously a top snare, so we're not getting any bottom, but I just really like the sound of it. Yeah, we get that nice amount of bleed from the hi-hat. We get a lot of good stuff, so I actually didn't touch it. I thought it was fine. What I did do was replicate the snare, but I replaced it using Drumagog, and I just printed it and then put some light compression using the FabFilter Pro C on it. So if we were to give that a listen without the compressor, it just has a little bit of room to it. Nice bit of room. Has some body. It has a little more of the actual snares, which are the little pieces of metal underneath the drum itself, which give it that nice crack. And then together, it sounds pretty good. And if you could see, the replace snare does have some what it thinks are ghost notes. It's probably just listening to the kick and giving it a hit. In the grand scheme of things, yeah, you wouldn't actually want it on there. But I actually think it sounds pretty cool. If I were to go back and do it again, I'm going to activate the compressor this time on the replace snare. And as you can see, I used a basic punch preset, kind of a just over 10:1 ratio, medium threshold. Nothing real crazy. Just kind of focusing on this middle frequency to trigger when the compression is actually happening. Obviously dry mix, you could actually do parallel compression with this compressor. I'm just not doing it right now, but I think it sounds pretty good. So that's how I got the snare. So if we were to listen to snare and kick together, super punchy kick. So you could hear that kind of doing its thing. Those ghost notes are getting quite annoying. But we're going to power on. Let's listen to the overheads without anything on them. I did quite a bit with these. So as you can see, they're pretty bland. If I engage the compressor, again the Pro C, it really opens them up. Really crushes, to be honest. I have it set to the parallel compression setting, and as you can see here, I am actually giving it quite a bit of the dry signal. After that, I did follow it up with the Puke Tech, basically a pull tech compressor. If I unbypass it, I did nothing to the low end. I want to keep it as low end free. I'm not going to attenuate or do anything. What I did do is give it a bit of sparkle up around 12 hertz. Just give it a boost of about 6 dB. Nothing too crazy. I usually don't leave this on, but I didn't turn it off when I was mixing, so I'm not going to turn it off now. But this is just a noise where you want the noise. I had it at 60, thought it was pretty good, so I'm going to leave it that way. Let's listen to these four together now. That sounds really good. So as you can see, while those ghost notes are getting annoying, now I'm going to have to go back and fix those, but everything's kind of sounding cohesive. And usually in a mix, you want things to sound good and like good by themselves, and then good as a mix, everything together. You want everything to kind of gel together. So it's always great when everything kind of gels and sounds good by itself. That's like the ultimate satisfaction. But sometimes that just isn't the case. You can have a really crappy sounding guitar by itself, but in the context of a mix, it all kind of works itself out. This is a pretty sparse mix, so it's pretty easy to make that happen. That, you know, sounds good by itself. But let's move on. I'm going to get the toms this time. So as you can see, we're going to start off with the Pro C. I'm going to disable everything. We give it a listen. Well, hold up. Let me turn these bad boys off. As you can hear, it is moving from left to right. It is a stereo. And if I'm going to engage the compressor. That give it a little more body to each one. Let's do it again. But that's after. Let's go to before. And my settings on this are, like I said, kind of a highish ratio. Basically the basic punch I used in that snare. I just copied it over, made a couple tweakages, if any. I don't think I did anything. I think it just sounded fine. Yep. So let's go on. I'm going to keep that engaged. Go into the Pro Q. I did kind of wideband stuff that I would normally do with a Pultec. For some reason, I just felt better using the Pro Q. This is a really nice graphic EQ, kind of the phase coherent EQ. It has basically all these settings down here where you could kind of go linear phase and the maximum latency. It gives it tons of latency, but locks it in the phase, which is sweet. But didn't really care to use it. It sounds fine the way it is. Let's listen to it engaged. That sounds pretty cool there. Oh, let me actually engage it. Hold up, somewhat awry. Okay, there you go. So what I did there, I just kind of rolled off a bit of the low end. If we were to listen to what I rolled off. Kind of muddiness. There's that. You hear that? It's kind of sub. Kind of wanted to take that out. In the mid frequency, I wanted to keep, yeah, kind of that knocking. Kind of like the knocking, and then we got the high end, kind of extra sparkle added to the top end of those toms. just a little bit of that crackle, added that. And then I went ahead and added boom at 100. This is going to crank, but what I did is I focused on the high end of the bass frequency, so you could think of it as high lows, if that makes any sense, or low mids that I kind of give a little boost to. So you can see they went from being kind of non-existent to really full. Let's give it a listen. Yeah, they were kind of thin. This really gave them nice rich. Okay, so if we were to go through just into the percussion now, that's it, impacted everything. So if I were to bypass things in order here, we're gonna get the Pro C, which is a compressor. Let's listen to it without anything first, actually. I'm gonna go through just engage things as they come on. So first is the compressor. You can tell already that's just thickened things up, really opened it up. It is an opto style compressor, so it has, I don't know, maybe a little bit of soft clippiness. It just sounds really nice. The side chain is in mid-side mode, so you can kind of tell that it gives it more definition in terms of the sides. That's really nice. You could tell in the dry mix I did give it some and just kind of knocked it over to the side a little bit instead of just keeping it mono. And it just sounds good. It made it wide and thick. I thought that was great. To emphasize some of the other instruments, I did give it a nice boost at 12, just 3 this time. And it's so, you can tell what it does to that Guido. It just kind of opens it up and makes it just crackle a little bit more. Then I wanted to get it even wider, so I got the Brainworks BX Stereo Maker and really just made it almost, you can tell what I'm doing with the phase coherence, really kind of throwing it off, and it is leaning a little more to the left, but it's just one instrument in the grand scheme of things. It just makes everything sound cool. So if I were to go back and engage my group here and just give it a back, and that's how I did the drums. If anyone has any questions in terms of my rig, how I got these to where they were, or anything like that, feel free to ask. I did nothing really crazy, just basic, compression, boosting certain frequencies, and just getting things to gel was really nice. I didn't do any straight parallel compression using a bus or anything and then kind of boosting that. I went straight for the good old-fashioned, just mixing everything together to make the drums one cohesive unit. So, yep, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.